Hey, again, why would you need to break what is already weak? Yeah, for foreign African doctrines you kill Socrates, and then you claim, say that the African cosmologies are now Greek. Yeah, tribe of Meru still in Kenya. Hebrew alphabet is called Meru.
Greetings, good people, divine sons and daughters of the Most High. You know, keep your head and your heart in unity is a good word. But we live in interesting times, and it's always good to read what's going on and what's happening in the world and your surrounding, and the internet space, all good teachers, So we have a lot of elements that we can learn from. It's a very interesting time as usual. Throughout history, any man and woman or child that ever live, it's like daytime is the modern time. So a lot of people saying, yeah, we're in modern times, but it's always modern times, I heard somebody break down how the past, present, and future is in the now, actually, and it kind of makes sense. Like how they say history repeats itself. It's a mistake. It's because I feel like as human beings, we only know one way. We just move how we move, in that human experience, So, man, the talk is still Kyrie. It's a mistake. Not so much so now, I guess, yay. But I guess a war is still happening. I'm sure there are wars happening that don't get a lot of coverage. I'm sure there are little beefs and little things happening where, arms are used, weapons, firepower. It's happening around the world, man, but we're not exposed to everything because the media chooses what's the hot topic, and I guess what will draw viewers in more closely. So I guess everybody's suspect by now, man, what Kyrie's going through, how they are degrading him, defaming him, and literally trying to take away his manhood in front of the world. It's like, yeah, you can do it systematically, but you always need iconic figures. Those one or two people that you can show the world what you mean. We're going to humble you. I listened to his apology, and it was acceptable. We all in a position where we are in that economic space, that economic construct where we have to, have like a level, balance type of, because for certain things to run, there have to be a certain level of peace. You know what I'm saying? I understand rules are being made. Certain people set rules. I mean, even if you look at this constitution, how many bills are signed into law that change up certain things? So it's not clear cut. It's not clear cut. It's like everything is modified. People think that the transformations is just happening in certain mediums, but the transformation happens all the time in every aspect, to basically, curtail to certain people, always, But I guess the Hebrews are getting a little bit of shine. But the irony is, these struggles have been happening for thousands of years. You got Hebrews in Africa, right? I don't want it to be like too religious or anything, this little vibe, this little talk, because you know, I heard a Hebrew Israelite. His name is Captain Tazariak. Some years ago on Sound of the TV, he was telling this little African boy that he's not his brother. The white man is actually closer to him than an African. A Hebrew Israelite said that, but ironically, the Jews are in Africa. That is the mistake. You know, in previous videos, I talked about colonization. All these lands are colonized and the people are pushed to certain areas. You know what I'm saying? No, I can't get into the specifics of certain things. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't divulge too deeply. Because there's so much to read. History is so much, and then to take up all that space in my mind. But I appreciate on a basic level, I can kind of see, you know, see a good scope of certain things, you know. So a lot of people are pushed off of their lands. Their cultures are taken. Sometimes we hear things growing up or throughout life, and it sounds so basic and simple that we don't realize how major it is, because we see the effects now. Like these vibes that's happening right now, people throwing around certain words but not actually getting to the point, is because these people who are propagating, you know, the disrespect, on the flip side, they either conveniently don't know or they really don't know. You know what I'm saying? But we have so many examples. So many examples. You live in the Caribbean or the West Indies, what was it called 1,000 years ago? Despite that, we are called by the present day name. America has been here. Many people have lived, died, cultivated cultures on the Americas, on the American land, North America. But people call themselves American. You know what I'm saying? So, the mystic know, when you hear about the libraries, when you hear about Alexandria, when you hear that people were not allowed to read, it's because certain people did not want them to understand a thing. There's something they did not want them to understand, because they were still dipping and dabbling and rearranging and arranging the whole play. They were dabbling in the playbook. You know what I'm saying? But when we're speaking of religion, right? I may be wrong, you guys can correct me. I don't know of any religion that came out of Europe. I always have to touch on it, man. The Pharisees and scribes, those people who made themselves priests, and then they tried to sit on the right side of that military power. You know, just like in Christ's time in the Bible, they talk about Pontius Pilate, and they talk about the Pharisees and scribes, and they made it seem like, no, the Romans didn't kill Christ, although they did crucify him at the end of the day. They said it was the Jews who did it. They tried to make it seem like it's his own people. Their own people chose a murderer and a thief, Barabbas. You know the irony about these books? These stories came a long time after the Torah. And I would imagine that before the Torah there was something. You know what I'm saying? There was something before that. But the mystic is when lands are colonized, we always have to remember. Hopefully, if anybody young is watching this vibes, you always have to remember they raped the woman. Because what you want to do is you want to breed out that strain of people and put your seed in it, right? You take all the resources, you murder the men and boys. Typically, you get them out of the way because you want it to be an easy as possible transition. So you have to be as barbaric as possible and you have to work as quickly as possible. You burn down what you think you don't need. You burn it out, destroy it, whatever you may do. And then what little remnants that you figure you can use to manipulate the minds of the people in the future, you cultivate that. You see, this is why, they find things afterwards, Dead Sea Scrolls and whatever else they find. Every now and then they come up and they find new books. It's a mystic how that works. But that's what they do. But in those early days, I don't think they understood how important certain things were. But as time progressed, they realized the value of it. For it being in their possession long enough, that thing develops where, we can use it this way. Some of the things in this thing is actually good. We can also live by these things. You know what I'm saying? This is how cultures are wiped out. And then a new people cultivate that culture and they become the thing. And now in this time, you can't even say, I am actually that. They will tell you, no, you're not. We are that. And that's what we're going through right now on a small scale, but big enough scale for us to learn something from. This is why certain roots man and certain, Afrocentric people and conscious community tell you to learn your history. Learn your history. Some are going to know it deeper than others. Some are going to have dates, times, names of people, so on and so forth. But our history is so potent that even if you know a bit of it, you know a lot. Trust me when I say that. It is something inside of you because you are actually the history. You're the history. I can prove it. When you get up out of your house and you leave, people look at you as exactly what you are. Exactly what you are. And when you think people don't know your history, you're fooling yourself. They know it. You know why? Because even on a physical level, the artifacts don't stretch back too far. So the question comes up, how did they come to be? That is the mystic. How did they come to be? Where were they spawned from? They have all kinds of scenarios. But it's sad, man. When you see celebrities punching down, a little Dave Chappelle punching down on another celebrity of the same group, you realize how there are manipulative forces out there that can turn a Jew against a Jew. Or turn a you against a you. This is nothing new. The black man know he's Asiatic. The black man know he's the original man. The black man know that he's Hebrew. He's Jew. He's an Israelite. We know we're from certain tribes. Those things, we know these things. No matter how they try to hide certain things from us, it just happened to be. That we just know. You can have word of mouth. You have different cultures that maintain a little bit more of certain ancient histories. Because these people who do their research, and historians and so on, and archaeologists, they go into certain old tribes just to know these things, just to see how much of it they still have. They always want to know how much of it we still have. It's all a science for them. So slowly, they can take it all away and possess it. This is exactly why they want Kyrie to apologize, so that nobody digs into whether something is true or not. Because in this day, they are it. Why would the Bible mention something about those who are Jews and are not, and are of the synagogue of Satan? Why would that differentiation? That alone proves, that is just one of the things that prove that when they were re-editing the Bible and doing their different things, they didn't really understand the value of those things, because they didn't know how they would use certain things in the future. That's what I'm saying. If something is in your possession long enough, you learn of how to utilize it more and in more diverse ways. So these things will come back and bite them at the end of the day. You know? A lot of people will explain that Judaism is different than Christianity. You know, the difference is, I heard one African Jewish man say that, you know what? We don't think that Christ has returned. The Messiah is still yet to come. They are actually speaking of that Christ that you have read about in the Bible. Isn't that a mystic? And these are Jews who are much older than what you see today as the fair skin. People with a curly lock type of thing on the side of their head. It's a whole different thing. You know, these are more considered converts to these things. But they've been dominating the scene for so much, it seems like it is actually theirs. This is why they didn't want us to read. Because there are a lot of practices that we do not practice today. You know, that's why it seemed like we are lost sheep. A great many of us. But I can say, if the black man can recognize his divinity, he actually doesn't need anything else. Now, I'm not trying to say that my words, just a man, is going to trump any prophecy or the Bible or so on and so forth. But you can skip a class. But you just have to dig into yourself. You can skip a level. You can skip a grade. You can warp into the future. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not going to get it at the same time. You know? So, one of my things, right, with like the Hebrew Israelites. The Hebrew Israelites, I think they use the Bible. Although they say there's the Old Testament in the Bible. But you know, if y'all watch my videos, y'all already know me. You can't trust these books too deeply. But they're looking for this magician type figure. I guess because the Christian Bible speaks of miracles, the blind see and walking in water, So they're looking for this man to come out of the sky. You know? They wouldn't necessarily relate it to coming out of an understanding, or an overstanding, a recognition. I see Haile Selassie as important. You know, Rastafari, I see it as important. Not have a lot of Rastafari that see even Haile Selassie in different ways on their own level, right? And I know a lot of people are turned off because they are indoctrinated so deeply. This thing of heaven and hell, and it's so ingrained in them. And then they would say to themselves, or they don't even have to say this, in their subconscious vibes, that they would more lean to that, not realizing that that thing was actually given to them. But to actually check history right here and now in this present day, 20th century, 21st century, they would not be able to connect certain things. Now, I'm not saying for someone to look at Haile Selassie as Christ in the Bible, but there are some correlations that people should just check into, and they will realize that why did this thing come to be? No, any man can call himself King of Kings and Lord of Lords and conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. Any man can call himself that. Right? But then for it to be established as official, he would have to sit on the throne of King David. Where is the throne of King David? Is the throne of King David in Ethiopia or in Jerusalem? You have to understand, colonization pushed people out of certain lands. We always have to remember that. But some people are wise enough to carry their culture with them wherever they go. No matter where they are. You know what I'm saying? So, Haile Selassie came under the covering of peace. Now, Hebrew Israelites is looking for God to come with war. But then their Bible still say that someone will make war against the Lamb, but somehow the Lamb will overcome them. People will try to turn around and say, okay, well, Haile Selassie needed help. But people don't understand the way that an official of a country or the official of a thing or a kingdom, how that official's mind works. They would not understand the ins and outs of how certain things work. The way I look at that is, Haile Selassie put something in their faces, meaning Europe, Rome, because it was Italy who invaded, with the support of many countries who threw a stone and hid their hands. But he put it right in their face and actually made them fix that problem. Now people can say, well, why is it, if he's Christ or if he's God, why did he allow certain people, so many people to die? Well, there's a system, right? We live on earth, but obviously we are flesh and blood, and there's a heaven and a hell. These things have to be, and obviously there's always going to be sacrifices, just by default. And there's no magic tricks here. It's just reality. You know what I'm saying? But then for it to play out the way that it did, it aligns up more closely with prophecy than any other thing presently. Because if they say Christ will come as a thief in the night, to me that depicts that a thief comes, did what he did, got away, and was unnoticed. A lot of people call themselves a lot of things, and they always have to push it out there. Yes, Haile Selassie is the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah, power of the Trinity, and all these things. But Haile Selassie never showed arrogance. There are a lot of beefs and little wars and so on and so forth that Haile Selassie helped to quell, to calm down. Haile Selassie was respected by many world leaders, even leaders in the Americas. We don't have to speak about Kennedy, there's Roosevelt, there are different ones. Prince and princes, other kings, even Rome had to show respect for Haile Selassie. But Hebrews don't really check for that, because their strength lies within the construct of a book, not in reality. You know what I'm saying? It has to play out exactly in the book or how they decode it. But as a mystic, that something is close and you can't really focus on it. You know what I'm saying? So you're looking way out there for something else. But then there's something in the middle that you could focus on. But because you can't catch it here and you're still looking way out there, you don't see like what's within your focus or what should be in front of your eyes. You see, the creator don't have to work in the way that the book says. Why? Because the books have been tampered with. Yeah, I know everybody puffing out their chest that they're Hebrew Israelites right now. Yeah, we have those lineages within us. We have those blood, that DNA within us. But there are many things happening spiritually right before us that has come to pass that we decided not to recognize because we want to say, look, see, we decoded this. We're the ones saving souls. But ultimately, it's only the creator can save souls. Because you can't make nobody do anything. The God within us is what allows us to be what we should be. If we recognize that we should be that thing in a good sense. Because I've checked a lot of books. I did not jump deeply into it. And I can imagine that there are a lot of people who are like that and they're still good people. Still have a loving heart, still very giving, still very friendly. And we'll get a position not by the judgment of your book, but the judgment of the actual creator. You know? So I accept all ethnic groups. I have no choice. I have to accept that the creator allowed them to be, just like me. You know what I'm saying? But I can still speak to the fact that in the race so far, right here on this planet, it's competitive. It is competitive between the races. You know, and some want to or need to be in control to achieve what they see as a good human experience for them and their family and their generations to come. You know? But so Josiah, the Brooklyn Nets owner, I suppose, I guess that's his name, Josiah. That's a mystic, right? The man sound like he have an ancient name. You know, like Josiah. Or something to that effect. But yeah, he's trying to disrespect the black man for all the world to see. And really and truly, Kyrie didn't do anything. Even if Kyrie posted something, it could simply mean, yo, y'all check this out and y'all leave your comments. What do y'all think about this? It's something, you see, it promotes discussion, but they never see it that way. They made it seem like, oh, it's so offensive. Yeah, I know. I've heard the Hebrews talk about people. You know, maybe a white man walking by and they get really, you know, ridiculous because their book said a thing. Oh, you're gonna be our slaves. And these guys don't hear themselves. I've seen that and I've heard that. Who can take that seriously? That's actually, you don't mess with people in that way. If your God gave you the power to speak to some strange person just because of their skin color, walking by, that is absolute, man, that is shameful, man. That is shameful. So really and truly, the God that you're looking at as the creator in your book, it has to be a lie. That book been fondled and sodomized so much that can't be the correct creator or God. I would love to see that creator or God so I can kick his drawers in his ass. So your God inspired you to tell a white man walking by, you're going to be our slaves when the Messiah returns. That don't sound like some bullshit? You guys really believe that? So it's like confusion all the way around. You know? The worst thing about you Hebrew Israelites that I give you guys an absolute F for is that you never recognize Haile Selassie. A head of state, a head of a country who was tolerant, a Christian or Orthodox Christian, an Islamic leader. There was no beef. He allowed people to believe what they want to believe because you can't take a different road to the Creator. That is the mystic. There's no guarantee that every ethnic group will get what your holy book is saying or what your religion is saying. And everybody don't have to play or follow the same rules to get to a place. Because one man can say, yo, I'm gonna ride my bike to that place. And next man can say, yo, I'm gonna take a boat to that place. Another man say, nah, I'm gonna take a plane. Another man say, yo, I'm gonna just beam up to that place. So y'all with your one-dimensional thinking, you're lying to yourselves at the end of the day. I understand people saying, yo, I'm Hebrew, I'm this, I'm that. At the end of the day, in the 20th century, Christ will return in 2,000 years. You'll never respect or identify or recognize Rastafari. Rastafari coming meant that the black man can see himself as the highest king on the planet. Right now, watching this video, without doing any research or going to Google, name me another king in present day on the level of Haile Selassie. We are going to say King Charles. You see? You see? So you see, there's a lot of turning pieces. You can't say King Charles because the royal family of Europe, when they started, they were mimicking something that they came and saw. You know, even the Asian people, the Oriental people, even they have more of a culture of kings and emperors before Europe. Europe is the baby of the planet in terms of Caucasian people. They are the babies of the planet. You know? So, tell me an emperor or king in recent time who's on the level of Haile Selassie, or who you can recognize. Who are you going to say? What? King Henry? Haile Selassie never came with war, or there's no funny business with Haile Selassie. You can say that his country went through a drought, and people can claim that, oh, he didn't take care of his people, or people can say that everybody didn't see him as God or even recognize him as king. But then you can't please everyone. But that does not take away what he did in terms of his action for the world to see. Peace and love. Most religions that come to be, they come out of violence and barbarism. No religion came out of Rastafari except one, which is Rastafarianism itself, Rastafari, and that came out of peace and love. Eating right, representing herb or the herbs of the field that can be used for medicinal purposes. Seeing yourself as high. You know what I'm saying? Those are the things that came out of that. So, you know, on one hand, I'm upset about how they're dealing with Kyrie because, like I said before, Kyrie for the last few years have been going through a spiritual journey. And a man should be allowed to go through a spiritual journey before he leaves this plane or this dimension so that he can be placed fairly wherever he's placed in whatever dimension he transitions to. And it's not for any man to say, oh, nah, you can't say that about this or that, because it's spiritual. It's not hurting anyone. Your feelings it's not good. The feelings part is not good enough. Because on the flip side, we have suffered physically, separated from our lands, our resources, and most of all, you've murdered our people. Notice I didn't say anyone specific. You people know who you are because you have benefited in many ways, you people. Benefited. Y'all realize that just now with this big Powerball, the first time in history I've seen this confusion about how the numbers not coming out right away. Then they say nobody won, then all of a sudden there was a winner. Because some machine did not recognize certain numbers of people or numbers of plays. It's all bullshit. These are the industries that were transitioned into by gangsters and mobsters. These people that today are trying to morally correct other people and not considering the shit that would contribute to certain people's demise or certain people's mental decapitation, basically. They conveniently act as if they don't realize what's happening. Conveniently. So within all the bullshit, we're supposed to still be humble and bow down and these types of things. We should never consider that you continuously pull the rug from under our foot simply because we are not as violent as you. And that's the part that be fucking with me. That's the part. You know, you have your central banks, you all control the world banks and all these things. You all own all the land and you all control the markets for gold and minerals and you all control these things. And then in certain countries you have sellout leaders that kiss your ass. You know why? Because just like the celebrities on a smaller scale, they're afraid of being assassinated. And you're conveniently act as if, oh, that's why, like, just in the court system, any little thing can happen and they'll either threaten you with jail time or you gotta go take a class because you did something so bad. You told somebody to fuck off or I'ma slap the shit out of you. And that's too aggressive. But you see, on their aggressive, they rip babies out of our mother's stomachs and rip them in half with horses on both ends. Castrate them. You know what I'm saying? Rape their daughters and their mothers and their wives. Then build on that foundation to be wealthy. Take everything, and then now the sons and daughters of these motherfuckers is telling us to be moral. And it's telling us to apologize. When has there been a world apology to the melanated people who have been robbed and raped for thousands of years? Yes, you Arabs in the East. And everybody running to Dubai and these places. Islam, the baby religion that came after Christianity, came after Judaism, came after everything else, but was the actual correct religion. But then y'all had slaves. Y'all were murderers and rapists just like everybody else. Just like what happened in Morocco the other day. Y'all hate black people. A great many of you. A great many of you. But Muhammad was black as night. Muhammad was black as night. And if Muhammad was today, y'all would scorn him and stone him to death. That's what I don't understand. The governing bodies of these religions are so disrespectful. In the East, where it's more hardcore, Islam, look at how they treat their women. Y'all have a big apology for y'all women. Because some book told y'all that the woman is supposed to walk behind of you. Because you can't control your emotions. You can't see a fat ass in front of you, look at it, process it quickly, and just move on. You're that weak. You let your mother walk behind you. You let your mother walk behind you? So that somebody can snatch her up? Your daughter walk behind you so somebody can snatch her up? While you walking with your chest big in the front? You wouldn't even let your woman walk at the side of you? Because it's man and woman together who bring forth children? Equality? In God's name? Allah made it that way? To be equal, to bring forth life, the greatest thing in the universe? And you got your woman walking behind you. I have no respect for that shit. Fuck out of here with that dumb shit. Allah is a fucking liar if he's real. For him to do that. Who is Allah's wife? Who is God's wife? Who's God's woman? Who's Allah's woman? How would he know to create a woman if he does not have a woman? Men design planes, they see birds in the sky. You design a beetle because you see a beetle on the ground. See, you're playing with this thing, man. Religion has fucked the whole world up is basically what I'm saying. So just for the record, black people are the original Jew people. The original Jews, that's who we are. That is why Kyrie said he cannot be anti-Semite. He cannot be against himself. He is the original blood. The more potent of what you claim to be. He's not Jewish. He's not kinda sorta. He is what he is. In as much as I am that I am. You are as you are. It is okay over history and time. Y'all are fascinated by the things that we engineer and develop and are exposed to many years before you. We can entertain you. We can invent things while you steal the patents and you slap your name on it. We can bring you to an area and you claim that you discovered it. You can see the pyramids, but then you are Pythagoras. You are pi r squared. But then the pyramids predate you for thousands of years. This is what I'm saying is fucking bullshit. Y'all cannot continue to disrespect us. And I don't give a fuck if Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal and whoever else, these weak niggas, big and strong motherfuckers can dunk from wherever and on whoever. And their opinions are so fragile and weak because they look at it on the surface and allow certain other people to degrade us like they've done for thousands of years because we are not as barbaric and selfish as they are in many instances. Now, I will always say that every white man is not bad, every Chinese not bad, every black man is not good. But who is controlling the money and the economics right now? Those are the people who are controlling the rules. And those are the people I have a problem with. Even on a smaller scale, you may have Hebrew Israelites, they're championing that vibes. Hebrew Israelites, so they're the governing bodies. But just because they're the governing bodies, I'm not going to agree with everything they say. And just like you may say, you have some people over there who are Native American and some specific lands given to them. I'm not going to just think, oh, they are the Native Americans, just a certain people that look like that. What about all the rest that have been separated and have merged into other ethnicities? I'm not going to respect them also just as much. So everything all messed up, man. Everything all messed up because of economics and greed and power. You know, that's why y'all can definitively say, hey, let's cancel him. So, ironically, you are anti-Semite with that bullshit. Love and honor, power and light, always ascending life everlasting blessings to who recognize their divinity and their connection to the Creator, the true Creator, not these religions that have manipulated us and they have touched up and fondled to their liking. Don't fall for it. Yes, we should be able to see what freedom of speech really is. We should be able to see it and feel it and experience it. Because freedom of speech is exactly that. Like the Constitution, you can't modify it and say, oh, be more sensitive here. We are sensitive. We are sensitive. Because we've been murdered many times over. Murdered by foreign forces and internal forces. So sometimes things are going to come out. And you should be the one that is sensitive to certain vibes and allow us to be free and express ourselves so that we can work through it. If you give a fuck.
The people of the land rule oppression, exercise robbery, vex the poor and needy. They are polluted in their way and will take off your crown. Remove your diadem, exalting that is low. Neither do they regard the God of their fathers. They have no Isaiah for woman. They exalt horses, they covet our fields, and them take them by violence. They oppress a man in his house, even his heritage. They try to put a bit into my mouth that I might obey and go whichever way you say and say whatever you say, say. But I know your words when negatives did. Even though you keep on holding on to my name. Go ask Aristotle, go ask Plato, who built Jerusalem. Go ask Pliny, go ask Plutarch, who built Jerusalem. Go ask Herodotus and Diogenes and Tacitus, who built Jerusalem. Ethiopia built Jerusalem. When you arrive at the original sites of the Temple of Solomon, about to live upon the temple site of Solomon, man was long gone. Back to the mountains of Buganda, southern tip of Africa, Makalanga. No, Jano. Back to the mountains of Buganda and Kenya, Ethiopia. Better Israel, Israel, better Israel, Nazareth, better Israel. The people of your land rule, oppression, exercise, robbery, vex the poor and needy. They are polluted in the way, man, they take off your crown, remove your diadem, exalt him, that is love. Neither did they regard the God of their fathers. They have no desire for woman. They exalt forces. They covet our fields and they take them by violence. Them who oppress a man in his house, even his heritage. Just say we alone. We are a lion child, I know. Better Israel, better Israel, better Israel, better Israel. Love your land, rule oppression, exercise robbery, vex the poor and needy, but do it in their way, and will take off your crown, and will remove your diadem, exalt him that is low. Neither did they regard the God of their fathers. They have no desire for the woman. Them only exalt forces. Them come into our region and them take them by violence. Them oppress a man in his own sin, in his habitat. Just say we alone. So just say we alone. So just say we alone. So just say we alone. We alone for Israel. Better Israel. Psalms 87. Don't tell them. Psalms 87. Don't tell them. The Lord God loving the gates of Zion more. His foundation is in the holy mountain. The Lord God loving the gates of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob. The Lord God loving the gates of Zion, Ethiopia more than all the dwellings of Jacob. Better Israel, Israel, we are lion child, I know. You go go, sweep on night and teacher, sweep on night. The people of the land, rule oppression, exercise robbery, vex the poor and needy. They are polluted in the way. Someone will take out the crown, remove your diadem, example that is low. Neither do they regard the God of their fathers. They have no desire for the woman. They exalt on the forces. They come into our peace and them take them by violence. They won't press a man in his own heritage. Just say we alone. So just say we alone. Here, better Israel, better Israel, I drove the Jerusalem. Here, go ask Pliny, go ask the rest of man. Don't ask me when you see me. Don't dare ask me. Go ask Pliny, go ask Plutarch, who built Jerusalem. Go ask Herodotus and Theodorus Siculus, who built Jerusalem. Go ask you Diogenes, you go ask Tactic, ask them who built Jerusalem. Yeah, Israel, Israel, and you have the Jerusalem. We don't from the covenant and forget John, no. No one can copy me money to forget John, no. Don't break Rastafari covenant and forget John, no. Don't forget, say, the people of the land, rule on oppression, exercise robbery, vex the poor and needy. You're polluted in their way, and will take off your crown, remove your diadem, exalt him that is low. Neither do they regard the God of their fathers. They have no desire for the woman. Them exalt forces, them covet our fields, and them take them by violence. Oh, bless a man, you know, you don't open his heritage. We alone, Jano, sometimes say we alone. Here, we alone, better Israel, Israel, Ethiopia and Jerusalem. boy. Stand before the congregation of the Lord. King David come out as a boy. Yeah, to stand before the congregation of the Lord. Yeah, with love and respect for his emperor King Saul. David come out after all to trample the enemies of the Lord. Michael to trample the enemies of the Lord. Yeah, David come out and chant as a boy. Trample for the leopard and the eagle star. David come out as a boy. Come here, come trample the enemies of the Lord. We come trample the enemies of the Lord. Yeah, they come trample the. Long time for my youth and the chanter songs. David come out and chant as a boy. As a spring up as cute as a boy. To trample the enemies of the Lord. Come here and trample the enemies of the Lord. Even if we come trample